Greetings, Guardians, and holy shit, I'm on Mustafar. Just kidding. This is pretty much like the only lava in the game. And it's actually not even lava, it's actually pretty much fuel. But seriously, I think there really should be a lava planet in the Destiny franchise. Io was their perfect opportunity to do that, to make a planet like Mustafar, just make a lava planet, which would be totally badass. But instead they made it frickin' Yellowstone National Park. But anyway, that's besides the point. So, if you're new to the Destiny franchise, you got Destiny 2. You might be wondering, hey, why are so many people complaining so much? It looks like a pretty decent game to me. Look, why do people hate on this game, hate on that game so much? Well, I am going to shed some light on why Destiny 1 veterans bash Destiny 2. Oh, and something shooting at me. Oh, it's a splicer servitor. Anyway, I'm going to shed some light on why Destiny 1 players like myself bash Destiny 2 so much. And that is mainly because there are a ton of features in Destiny 1 that are not present in Destiny 2. They were taken out of Destiny 2 for no reason. So, right off the bat, if you look at my weapon slots, you can see a symbol for a scout rifle, a shotgun, and a rocket launcher? 2 power weapons at once? What the hell? Yup. 2 power weapons at once. In Destiny 1, you have your primary weapon. These are basically kinetic and energy weapons. However, in your second slot, you have what is known as your special weapon. These are your shotguns, fusion rifles, and sniper rifles. And in your third slot, you have what is known as a heavy weapon. These include your rocket launchers, swords, and your heavy machine guns. And
technically this is a linear fusion rifle, but this is pretty much one of a kind. Like, it's the only linear fusion rifle in the game, except for the Queen Breaker's bow, but that's a special weapon. Sleeper Simulant is a heavy weapon because it's really OP, but
Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is your weapon slots were organized in a way more fun way in Destiny 1 than they are in Destiny 2. And most of the things Destiny 2 took out or nerfed are for no reason, but there actually is a reason for this. And the reason why they changed the weapon system is so they could make a more balanced Crucible experience. And at first, I thought this was a good change for PvP and a minor sacrifice for PvE, but upon playing it, the Crucible is just so boring in Destiny 1. No, sorry, not in Destiny 1. The Crucible is really fun in Destiny 1. In Destiny 2, the Crucible is so boring, because all you're doing is team shooting primaries. Now, primary gunplay, if it's a one-on-one gunfight, that is pretty exciting. And if you're using primary versus primary, if in a 1v1 gunfight, that is a pretty good, I would still see that as a pretty fun experience, but all it's come down to in Destiny 2 is team shooting. And it's just boring. You had like snipers everywhere, shotgun apes, and like it was a lot more frustrating, but it was also a lot more fun. You had an adrenaline rush in the Destiny 1 Crucible that's just not there in Destiny 2. Another advantage Destiny 1 has over Destiny 2 is the subclasses. With Destiny 1, you can have many options. You have multiple options to customize your playstyle. Tons. In Destiny 2, sure, you can select your grenades and your jumps. But other than that, oh yeah, and your class abilities. But other than that, you have option A or option B, which include a bundle of perks that cannot be mixed and matched. It really detracts from the sense of individuality within Destiny 2. You can even customize your armor, recovery, and agility, which are basically the same stats as the Destiny 2 armor gives. Well, if your subclass gives you these perks, then what does your armor determine? Well, I'm glad you asked. Not only does your armor have actual perks, but it also grants these: intellect, discipline, and strength. Intellect allows your super to recharge quicker. Discipline allows your grenades to recharge more quickly. And your strength allows your melee ability to recharge more quickly. In Destiny 2, all the recharge times are the same as everyone else. It's more balanced, but it's less fun. And you can't really upgrade it at all. So, like, the base level is 0. So, for the entire game, no matter how high of a power level you are in Destiny 2, your super is always gonna recharge a bit more slowly. And so are your melee and grenades, unless you have a mod that increases grenade recharge rate, but that only works for certain subclasses. Now, Destiny 1, although Destiny 1 is a lot better than Destiny 2 in my opinion, it's not better in every single way. There are some improvements Destiny 2 has made over the original, and some of these changes are: the public events in Destiny 1 are a lot worse than Destiny 2's public events, and what I mean by that, they're not harder, they're just more boring. In fact, they're a lot easier than Destiny 1's public events. And, I mean, I would say they're less rewarding, but not really. I mean, come on, the public events in Destiny 2, they are great for XP, but they do not give you great rewards in Destiny 2 either. 2 tokens and a blue. That's a classic Destiny 2 meme.
The event has begun, so you are witnessing the largest, most elaborate public event, most rewarding public event, we will see later, that we've ever created for Destiny or Destiny 2. Now let's check this out. I promised before that this was the most rewarding public event. And there we have it. We have 2 chests.
And with Destiny 1, you just get a rare engram most of the time. Sometimes a legendary engram. That's pretty much it. You do get some XP, probably not as much as a Destiny 2 public event. But I don't know, I haven't compared it because I haven't played Destiny 2 in a long time. And I do not plan on playing Destiny 2 for quite some time. However, another thing Destiny 2 is better than Destiny 1 about is Destiny 1 has no ledge grabbing. There's no ledge grabbing in Destiny 1.
Oh, okay. No ledge grabbing. I'm just gonna try and barely make it. Hang on.
I'm gonna nick the edge and, yep, no ledge grab. So Destiny 2 has ledge grabbing, and that's great. I think Destiny 1 should have had it, because other games that came out during the same time as Destiny 1, those games had ledge grabbing, but not Destiny 2. However, another thing Destiny 2 did that's better than Destiny 1 is Destiny 1 has no adventures. there were no such things as adventures in Destiny 1. Some would argue that there are no lost sectors in Destiny 1, but there is one lost sector in Destiny 1. It's not called a lost sector, but let's be real here, it's a lost sector. Let me take you to it. Wait, whoa, 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 hold up, hold up, hold up. What was that sound? There it is again. What the hell? Let me see something. Hang on, I need to not get shot at here. Let's see something real quick. Sparrow horns! Yup. In this game, you have Sparrow horns. This one is my personal favorite. Actually, no. This one, no, it's not this one. It's, this one, because it sounds like a fallen alarm in the Prison of Elders. I will go into what the Prison of Elders is, but not yet. But anyway, let me take you to the lost sector of Destiny 1. Hang on, I forget the layout of the map. Oh yeah, another thing that's not in Destiny 2, another thing that's not in Destiny 1 is fast traveling. Destiny 2, fast traveling, that's a great idea. I love fast traveling. I also love the ability to go to certain planets without having to return to orbit. But in Destiny 1, you do have to return to orbit. And other than the, yeah. So, Destiny 1 is not better than Destiny 2 in every single way. In my opinion, the cons of Destiny 2 severely outweigh the pros. So without further ado, to the Lost Sector! Alright, we are getting close. This is the entrance to the Destiny 1 Lost Sector. Die. And this requires an item known as a Splicer Intel Relay.
Got it.
Oh, hello there. Die! And I think, actually, this Lost Sector is even better than the Destiny 2 Lost Sectors.
To upgrade their catch with Siva. These files point to one of the ship's servitors overseeing the conversions. Catches are enough trouble without the advanced super tech. We need to junk that servitor.
And look at this. Your ghost actually talks. This is pretty much the exact same as a Lost Sector, but I think it's slightly better. It's not called a Lost Sector, but let's be real here. It's a Lost Sector. As we go to this catch, that's what they're called. We are going to approach a mini-boss. And oh wow, would you look at that. It's a lot bigger than a normal enemy. In Destiny 2, the Lost Sector mini-bosses are they're not even enlarged versions of already existing enemies. They're just enemies. They're normal, plain-ass enemies with more health than the rest. This one is actually slightly larger, and you know, how bosses in Destiny 1 and 2 are just larger versions of already existing enemies. But hey, at least this is larger. The lost sectors of Destiny 1, those are not bigger than the enemies of normal C. I cannot talk today. And as you can tell, another thing, my rocket launcher holds 2 rockets per reload. Not only that, check this out. Okay, it's hard to see here because it's kind of subtle, but this rocket launcher has tracking,
nice.
a perk.
Catch retrofit with Siva. It's something we can definitely do without.
Shut up, Ghost. This rocket launcher has a perk that is not in Destiny 2. Tracking! And as 2 rockets per reload. And also, oh yeah, I forgot to demonstrate what a heavy machine gun is. Oh wait, oh no, I'm out of heavy ammo. Oh, wait a second. Oh, single-use ghost manufacturing package. Instantly replenish heavy weapon ammunition. Oh! Oh yeah, by the way, here's the Lost Sector loot chest. Boom. Sublime engram. Let me demonstrate the power of the heavy machine gun. Now, these enemies are slightly under-leveled because this is just patrol, but still, this is really satisfying. And these, yeah, they're just really satisfying to use. And I miss them in Destiny 2. I wish they were in Destiny 2, but they're not. These weapons are a thing of the past. And also, just take a look at this. Unlock with Splicer key. Oh look, more loot chests. What the hell is this? Oh shit! Boom! Get wrecked, son! You don't see any of this in Destiny 2. All you have are those fucking balls.
Ah, my face!
I'll get played.
Is there?
No.
Oh yeah, this was a bad idea, actually. Okay,
I have no idea how the hell I'm still locked.
Oh yeah, there's ogres there.
Why would you pick it up?
So he can find where it'll do the most damage. Smart.
Is it?
I got it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
No, dude.
Clutch it! Super clutch!
Oh, Flake actually did it.
In this, you get actual, like, good stuff that makes you more powerful when you use it. I miss things like these in Destiny 2. Like, these things, and look, as you can see, as it runs low on ammo, or, like, charge or whatever, it starts glowing more faintly. I think that's a pretty cool feature. and just take a look at this. Boom! Oh, yeah, and that expends the ammo really quickly. But you see, the relics in Destiny 1, they were awesome. You have things like the Iron Lord axe, like I just showed you. You have things like the Sword of Crota. Crota is a hive god, by the way. But you basically get to use a sword that's way better than the heavy weapons swords. Also get to use in a raid called the Vault of Glass and a strike known as the Nexus, a relic known as the Aegis. It's a lot like a Sentinel shield, but oh man, it is so fun to use. Not even the Curse of Osiris brought back the Aegis. I miss relics in Destiny 2. Damn. That's the raid entrance, by the way. A raid much better than the Leviathan. Alright. You know how public events are way better in Destiny 2 than they are in Destiny 1? Well, that is true for the most part. The Destiny 2 public events are better than most Destiny 1 public events. However, there are a few exceptions. There are some public events in Destiny 1 that are even better than Destiny 2's public events. And these ones you get to activate if you have certain items. Present Siva offering. I have a fused Siva offering. There are 3 types of Siva offerings, and you can only hold one at a time. There are fused Siva offerings. There are, I think, enhanced Siva offerings, which are rare, which are blue tier, and then you have perfected Siva offerings, which are legendary, also known as purple. So I have a fused Siva offering. Boom. Let's do this shit.
Oh no, the splicers don't like you.
So sit back and enjoy
This
the
is
show.
Splicer's most hallowed ground. Maybe they shouldn't have left the door open. Well, the splicers won't forget you anytime soon.
Also, if you have more than one player in here, sometimes an Iron Lord axe will spawn in, and you can actually use that. Let me show you another example of a very similar thing, of a public event that's better than a Destiny 2 public event. In fact, I actually think this is better than the Archon's Forge. This is known as the Court of Oryx. Oh shit, man, no! I was trapped. Also, I didn't really bring the proper stuff for the... Oh, actually... These wizards, by the way, will respawn if you don't kill them. If you kill them at the same time, they'll die, but if you kill one and leave some survivors for a long time, then the other one will come back to life. So you need to kill them at, like, approximately the same time. Because these boss fights actually have mechanics to them, unlike the majority of Destiny 2 boss fights, and actually also the majority of Destiny 1 boss fights. And this public event actually has a loot chest, unlike most Destiny 1 public events. Destiny 2 also has loot chests, but whatever. Now that we've already gone over the weapons system, public events, lost sectors, and that type of thing. Oh yeah, relics as well. And sparrow horns. I've mentioned sparrow horns. We are going to go over shaders. Now, the shader system is a lot different in Destiny 1. And if you are new to the Destiny franchise and you started with Destiny 2, you might think that the Destiny 2 shader system is better. I think each system has its pros and cons. With the Destiny 2 shader system, you could apply shaders to whatever weapon system, whatever armor piece you want. You could have separate shaders for separate armor pieces, and that's not the case in Destiny 1. However, in Destiny 1, if you have a shader, like once you get a shader, you have that shader. And you can use it as many times as you want. And look, when I apply this shader, boom, that original shader, is still there. Now, you cannot, like I said, you cannot apply, when you apply a shader, it applies to your entire armor set, and you cannot apply it to ships, ghosts, or weapons, and that is one of the advantages the Destiny 2 shader system has over the Destiny 1 shader system. But even if you dismantle a shader, that shader is still available in a kiosk. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Pre-Dawn, my favorite shader, which actually resembles a lot of the Destiny 2 New Monarchy shaders. Red and gold for the win. Now, let's take a look at the vaults. Oh, hey, look at that Guardian. Checking out my badass armor. Greetings! Anyway, let's take a look at the vault. As you can see here, the Destiny 1 vault is actually organized. You have weapons, armor, and miscellaneous items. In Destiny 2, it's all just one hodgepodge pool of miscellaneous junk, like weapons, armor, shaders, everything. But in this, it's actually organized. And they took that feature away from Destiny 2. Not to mention the fact that there is a lot more vault space in Destiny 1 than Destiny 2. Now, this wasn't always the case in vanilla Destiny and the majority of the Dark Below. You had barely any vault space, and it was just awful. It was horrendous. However, it has dramatically improved over the years, and I think it'll improve in Destiny 2, but the thing is, if it's this good in Destiny 1, there's no reason for it to regress in Destiny 2. Like, there's no reason to make it worse in Destiny 2. Another thing I would like to show you, we've already gone over the weapons system, but there is one more thing I would like to show about weapons, and you might have already heard about this because it's constantly on the forums if you read the Destiny forums. The weapons have random rolls. I have pretty much close to a god roll over here, like really, really good perks on this scout rifle. And the weapons actually have random perks. You see, the future war cult. I know I don't want to accept your freaking allegiance. New monarchy for the win. Anyway, this weapon has different perks. Oh, actually, explosive round this week. Sweet. Anyway, this one has different perks than this one. Random rolls for the win. And also, another thing about weapons, when you get weapons in Destiny 1, the perks are not, the perks are not immediately unlocked. You can upgrade them from getting experience points, or from using an item known as Motes of Light. And you get, like, every time in Destiny 2, your light bar reaches the end, you get a bright engram. However, those are not in Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, you get 5 motes of light, and those help you level up a weapon or armor. And actually, this one's not fully upgraded. I still have a little bit more to go on this one, so let me demonstrate. I think it takes a lot more motes of light actually to level up armor than it does to level up weapons. So let me just burn a couple of these, and boom. There we go. But I like these a lot more. Robot legs, motherfucker. And by the way, that's another thing. The armor in this game, the raid armor, I'm sure it'll be the case later down the road for Destiny 2, but the raid armor in Destiny 1 has ornaments. And not just one ornament, it has two, or like, not all the armors. Some of the raid armors have one ornament option, but this armor has 2 ornament options. And I choose, obviously, the more badass looking one, the robot legs. Hooray! And actually, for this chest piece, I actually do not have an ornament equipped because, well, I don't like this one because it takes away that awesome looking chest plate. And this one, even though it creates badass tentacles, which I absolutely love, the chest plate, for one, it's a lot smaller, which makes it look less heavily armored, and it's not affected by shaders, and technically neither are the boots, but for some reason I don't mind that as much for the boots as I do for the chest piece. However, oh yeah, not to mention the fact, this is actually not raid armor, but this has an ornament. And you get this armor from completing the Rise of Iron record book. And that's another thing that is not in Destiny 2 record books. You can have, and record books, there are certain things you need to do in order to complete it and get certain things. Complete the Rise of Iron quest line. Collect all 8 Iron Lord artifacts. Complete Nightfalls strikes. Complete all exotic quests in Rise of Iron. In Flesh. Complete strikes in the Siva Crisis Strikes playlist. Complete the Rise of Iron story missions on hard difficulty. Complete the weekly patrol quest. And, like, these are pretty much, I think, if I remember correctly, patrol quests. I'm not going to go over all of them. This is the Wrath of the Machine, and this is what the raid is in the Rise of Iron DLC. You have to do certain things in the raid to complete this page of the record book. The Crucible, I did not do this because I did not do Trials of Osiris that often, and now, like, Trials of Osiris is a thing of the past. And by the way, in Destiny 1, it was called Trials of Osiris instead of Trials of the Nine. I don't know why they took out Trials of Osiris from Destiny 1. like after making, could have left Trials of Osiris in the game, like they leave the Nightfalls in the game. The Nightfalls are still in Destiny 1. However, they're just like, alright, now that Destiny 2 is coming out, we're just gonna remove Trials of Osiris from the game, which I think is pretty retarded, but, you know, honestly, realistically speaking, I wasn't gonna play it anyway. Because I suck at PvP. So, let us go to the director. Speaking of PvP, let me show you one key essential feature that they took out of Destiny 1, of actually several features they took out of Destiny 2 that are not in Destiny 2. With Destiny 1, let us take a look at the Crucible. Oh my god, would you look at all these options. Zone control, I guess this is the featured playlist of the week. Zone control, it's a
Tactical exercise reinforcing acquired territory. Should the Vanguard ever decide to expand the past wall?
Okay, actually no, this is just a boring description. I thought it would say what the game mode is. Okay, but the bullet points are what actually explains it. 6v6, look at that. 6v6, not 4v4, 6v6. Team objective. And and basically what zone control is you don't get points from kills, you only get points per you get points for capturing zones, and if you have a zone under your control, you get a point every second. So basically the more zones you have, the more points you will be earning per second. So it's just a mad rush for zones, to capture zones, and it's pretty exciting actually. Clash is basically just Clash, only 6v6 instead of 4v4. Rift, that is also 6v6. I forget if Rift is in Destiny 2. Actually, you know what? I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not. This is basically capture the flag. I might actually do a match and probably suck ass because I'm not really good at the Crucible in Destiny 1. However, I still think it's a lot better. Elimination, this is competitive multiplayer. Oh wait, no, actually, technically it's all competitive multiplayer, but this is similar to what the competitive playlist is in Destiny 2. In Destiny 1, you have the competitive playlist and the quick play playlist. These options are more like quick play. This is more like competitive. And this, I actually would go and say this is more like, this is also more like quick play, but it is 3v3. This is also 3v3, like I already said. And Rumble Supremacy. Free for all. Free for all. You don't see any of that in Destiny 2. And let's take a look. Last but certainly not least, private matches. And not only that, take a look at this. Oh wait, hang on, I forget how to actually change your team, but there was an, oh look, switch teams. Alpha team, Bravo team, Alpha team, Bravo team. And look at this. You get to select the map. You don't get to select the map for actual matches, but for private matches you can. And I think that should be an option in just normal matches, like map voting. You can vote on, I mean, for private matches you can control whether, like what game mode it is, control Clash, Supremacy, Rift, Skirmish, Elimination, Rumble, Salvage, which is basically, it's a lot like Skirmish. Oh yeah, by the way, I never explained what Skirmish is. It's basically Clash only. When someone dies, you need to revive them. Elimination is basically skirmish, but you don't respawn over time. It's basically a lot like Countdown without the mines. If you eliminate the enemy team, you win the round. Rumble is basically free-for-all, and that is my absolute favorite. I love Rumble, and I miss it so much. They might add it back, but like, they shouldn't have even taken it out in the first place, in my opinion. Salvage is pretty much skirmish, but you need to, like, capture a relic. It's a lot like, it's very similar to Countdown in that you need to, like, hold X to capture the relic, like, while getting shot at by the enemy team, but it doesn't blow up. The only thing that happens when you capture it for a certain amount of time is you get, like, a crap ton of points. Zone control, I already explained what that is. Rumble supremacy, that's basically supremacy, but free-for-all. Inferno Clash. Now, Inferno is a game mode I wasn't particularly fond of, but basically you have no radar, and the ammo spawns less frequently. Inferno Control, like, there's no radar again. Zone Control, Inferno Zone Control, I already explained what Zone Control is. It's basically Inferno version of that. Inferno version of Rift. Inferno Rumble, Inferno Salvage, Inferno Skirmish, Elimination, Supremacy, Mayhem Clash. Now, this is actually a game mode in The Dawning. I did not play Destiny 2 recently, and I think The Dawning is over right now, so I'm not sure whether they took it out of Destiny 2 or they kept it in, but it was not in at release of Destiny 2, and it wasn't actually in release of Destiny 1. But if it's in Destiny 2, they should not have taken it out. I mean, if it's in Destiny 1, they should not have taken it out of Destiny 2. Mayhem Rumble. Oh, look at that. Sparrow Racing. You don't see that in Destiny 2. Now, you get to also choose the maps. You get to choose the score limit, like whatever the first team is to reach that score wins. You get to set the time limit. You get to say you get to control what ammo spawns throughout the map. Special ammo, heavy ammo. By the way, when you or no ammo crates, by the way. You can have matches where absolutely no ammo spawns whatsoever. And by the way, in Destiny 1, when heavy ammo, not only would Shaxx let you know, he'd say heavy ammo on the way when heavy ammo was about to spawn. Not only that, but if you picked up the heavy ammo crate, not only would you get that heavy ammo, any teammates in the proximity would also get heavy ammo. In Destiny 2, like, only one person can get it, and if a teammate takes the crate, you're shit out of luck. Now, you can also customize how often the respawn time is, and oh, look at that. Look at that. You can even customize the time of day. And also, let's take a look at Sparrow Racing. Now, I do not like how one thing I kind of hate how they did in Destiny 1 is they made... Wait, hang on. They made it so Sparrow Racing was removed from public matches, and, like, because they wanted it to be, like, some limited time event thingy. But yeah. It is available in private matches, but, like, seriously, they should have just left it public as well, in my opinion. Let me just do a quick Sparrow racing match against nobody. But you can still see how fun it is, like it would be if you played against multiple people. I might be a bit rusty as well. Oh yeah, look at that badass armor.
SRL. Wanna win? Hit those gates. Ball on the track. Don't.
Oh, I missed that one. And also, if you're Sparrow racing, you can also like do this stuff to like knock other players out of the way of the stuff, the thingies that I'm driving into. And also, if you are higher in a higher place, like right now it says that I'm in first place, and I mean I technically am because I'm the only one here, but if you're in like, let's say, last place, like the lower place you're in, the wider these are gonna be. The higher place you're in, the narrower they're gonna be. Now, one thing that I would absolutely love to see in like a future Destiny title, like hopefully Destiny 2, at least Destiny 2, they add not only Sparrow racing, but also Pike racing and Interceptor racing. Those are not in Destiny 1. Like, not even Sparrow racing is in Destiny 2. But having races with different vehicle types, that would be, I think, really cool. But anyway, that's pretty much Sparrow racing in Destiny 1. I've already completed a lap, and there are 3 laps, but I'm just gonna, now that we have gone over the private matches and all the Crucible game modes, let us go over the PvE side of things. And right off the bat, you can tell, whoa, what the hell are all of these? These are story missions. Yup, you can replay story missions in Destiny 1 besides like Ikora's meditations. You can still replay them in Destiny 2, but in Destiny 2 it's just a really terrible system where you can only play 3 random missions a week, and once you play those 3 random missions, you're done. That's what's the case for Destiny 2, but in Destiny 1, you can play whatever story mission. Wow, I am not used to this. You can play whatever story mission you want, whenever you want. And not only that, you can select specific strikes. Like, you can select any specific strike you want. And obviously, like, there are a lot more strikes in Destiny 1 than Destiny 2, because Destiny 1 has had, like, 3 entire years of DLC, like, to add more strikes into the game. But, yeah, you can, but you could, on day 1 of Destiny, you could replay story missions, whatever mission you wanted, whenever you wanted, and whatever strike you wanted, whenever you wanted. Now, strikes, you can play them, like, they aren't exclusive to certain weeks besides the Nightfall, but in Destiny 2, if you want to play, let's say you want to play Savathun, you have to get lucky. You have to go to the strike playlist and hope that it's Savathun's song and not Exodus Cancer for the 10 millionth time. In Destiny 1, you can select whatever strike you want. Now, if you do it this way, like, they're not as rewarding. Like, the heroic, like, these are 320 strikes, like, on the harder option, which the strike difficulty selection was actually added in Rise of Iron. Before Rise of Iron, like, that wasn't a thing. You could not select strike difficulties, unless you were playing a strike playlist. However, with the strike playlist, you get better rewards and you get better rewards such as the Nightfall and the heroic strike playlist. And right off the bat, let us take a look at the Nightfall first. As you can see, the Nightfall has way more modifiers than the Destiny 2 Nightfalls. In Destiny 2, you had you have 2 modifiers for the Nightfall. And with Destiny 1, you've got 5. None of these modifiers have to do with a timer. However, there is a timer. But the main difference about this timer in the Destiny 1 Nightfalls, the Nightfall timer in Destiny 1, not only does it give you a lot more time to complete the Nightfall, it's actually optional. Like, if you don't make the time limit in the Nightfall in Destiny 1, you can still beat the Nightfall, you just won't get as good rewards. Now, there is a special bounty called the Sunrise Bounty. Oh yeah, by the way, bounties are another thing. You can get them from vendors. These are not... Bounties do not exist in Destiny 2. You can obtain these from vendors. There's a special bounty called the Sunrise Bounty, and basically, if you get a gold tier score in the Nightfall within the time limit, it gives you extra rewards. Now let's go, but before we get into that, I'm going to show you what these modifiers are. Epic. Heavily shielded and highly aggressive enemies appear in great numbers. Now this modifier is actually kind of different from the rest because this modifier basically dictates what difficulty something is. The rest of them, they just change random things about the game. Void Burn. Void damage from any source is greatly increased. Now, that means like void weapons will do more damage, sort of like Prism, where it rotates between elements, and some of your weapons become more powerful than others based on their elements. However, with Void Burn, it doesn't rotate, it's just a constant. And notice how it says from any source. So that means enemies, the enemies of Destiny, they also do elemental damage. So basically, any enemies that do void damage, they're going to be more dangerous. So not only are you more powerful, but so are some of your enemies. So this not only makes you more powerful, but you also need to change your strategy. So like, let's say if it's Arcburn, you will really need to be careful of Hive Boomers and Hive Wizards. On Voidburn, you'll really need to be careful of Vex Minotaurs, Hive Acolytes, and Hive Ogres. Solarburn, you'll need to be careful of Cabal and Vex Hobgoblins and Vex Goblins. But yeah, I think that's a sufficient enough description. Specialist. Special weapon damage is favored. So this basically means that your special weapon will do twice the amount of damage it would normally do. And since I have a Void shotgun, and this Nightfall is Void Burn and Specialist, like, this shotgun is gonna do absolutely insane amounts of damage. Grounded. Players take more damage while in the air. This is another modifier that makes the game harder, and basically, I actually kind of like this because, well, I mean, it is an inconvenience, but what I like about this is a hard modifier that does not have to do with health regeneration. Like in Destiny 2, you pretty much have 8 modifiers, well, actually just more with the heroic adventures, but I think only 8 possible modifiers in the Destiny 2 rotation. So basically, 4 of them do not have to do with time limits. You have Prism, Torrent, Attrition, and Momentum. Attrition and Momentum are the only 2 modifiers that make the game harder. And guess what? They both have to do with health regeneration. For Attrition, you don't regenerate health unless you pick up orbs that are dropped by killed enemies. For Momentum, you don't regenerate health unless you're running very fast. With this makes the game harder without having to do with health regeneration, so this can actually exist. This can actually coexist with other modifiers as well. If Attrition coexisted with Momentum, that would just make the game really weird. They would make each other easier because you'd have 2 options to regenerate health. But anyway, these modifiers can coexist with each other. Not the Destiny 2 modifiers. Now let us go into the Nightfall, and I shall show you another feature that is not in Destiny 2. As you can see, look at the center of my screen. Strike scoring. Oh god, I might actually die here. And also in Destiny 1 Nightfalls, since the time limit doesn't matter, these are actually restricted zones. Actually, in Destiny 1, they're called darkness zones, and I died because I was not paying attention. But anyway, in Destiny 1, you have strike scoring, modifiers, and strike scoring. And by the way, there are also modifiers for the heroic strikes. And not only that, but when you complete a strike on hard mode, you can actually have strike-specific loot. One thing that I forgot to mention is that strike scoring is not available for all strikes. I'm playing a hard mode strike. It's not available for the hard mode strikes, and those are actually not as hard as the heroic strike playlists or the Nightfall. But it does give strike-specific loot. And I will fast forward to when I beat the boss and collect that sweet, precious loot. Alright, now that the boss is almost dead, I'm in a little cheese spot here where the boss can't get to me. The boss is almost dead, and boom!
Zavala, these breaches are a serious threat. Has the Vanguard tried to reach out to him?
Just gonna get that engram over there, and
the last time we sent in a team was years ago.
Use skeleton key. Spectral what? Oh man.
Noted.
In the meantime,
okay, that is a bad example. Wow, that is such a bad example. Hey, there it is. As you can see, this is a machine gun that looks a lot like a Fallen. Like this is because we fought the Fallen. Now another piece of strike-specific loot. This is also from that strike. It's known as the Devouring Maw. You can also get that from the skeleton key chest on the Fallen Saber strike. There's tons of like weapons and armors you can get from doing certain strikes and getting skeleton key chests. Now, if you get, now how to obtain skeleton keys, you basically have to do, I think you can randomly get them from strikes. However, if you do the Nightfall, if you complete the Nightfall, you get a guaranteed skeleton key. Now, if you have already done the Nightfall, like, you obviously can't, but if you complete it for the first time that week, you get a skeleton key. And back to story missions. Not only can you replay whatever story mission you want, there's also the weekly story playlist, and that has 2 random modifiers. Just imagine if Ikora's Meditations had modifiers. And even if they did, that still would not be as good as this is, because this week is Rise of Iron story mission. Oh wait, no, I'm crazy. Mars and Venus missions. So basically, it could be any of these minus this, or this. Like any Mars or Venus missions from vanilla, it's a playlist that randomly rotates between these with modifiers. Not only that, but the Siva Crisis Heroic Strike playlist has modifiers as well. And so does a thing called the Challenge of Elders. That also has modifiers. And I can't select it right now because you need to get a thing from a guy named Varix. You need to get a thing known as an Elder's Sigil. Put on my more badass armor. Hell yeah. Let us go to this guy over here. And oh god, it's a fallen! Attack! Attack! Oh, never mind. It's just Varix. Yep, a friendly fallen. Who would have guessed? And the sad thing is, like, Destiny 2 never even goes into the slightest details. Not even the slightest detail of what happened to the Reef. What happened to the Reef? I mean, all my stuff was destroyed in the tower, but you can just access that stuff here. I mean, Tyra Karn is at the farm, and she's from a place known as the Iron Temple. But, so I guess that was destroyed, but it doesn't say how. This, like, it doesn't even tell you what happened. That's just such a big plot hole. The time has come. Let us finally go over the Prison of Elders. The Prison of Elders is basically an endgame activity that was added with the House of Wolves DLC and updated with the Taken King DLC. Now, the Prison of Elders is a lot different from the Challenge of Elders. In the Prison of Elders, you have 4 different rooms, and that's actually the case for both the Prison and the Challenge of Elders. But anyway, you have 4 different rooms. One is a Hive arena, one is a Fallen arena, one is a Vex arena, and one is a Cabal arena. In the Prison of Elders, you have 5 rounds that a random modifier is active during each round, and it changes each round. The first round of the Prison of Elders has no critical objective, but for the 3 rounds in between, you have to either dismantle mines, destroy mines, or kill an important target. On the last round of the Prison of Elders, you fight a mini-boss, and then you beat it. It's also a random room, so you could have the Fallen on round 1, and the Hive on round 2, and like so on and so forth. So basically, it's a randomized activity. These were endgame activities in the House of Wolves, And this is kind of like a match-made version, just like a strike. Like, you get paired with other players on these versions. However, on these versions, you don't get paired with anyone. You have to bring a team, or if you're good enough, you can solo these. Challenge of Elders is a bit different. For the Challenge of Elders, you have 2 normal modifiers and 1 score modifier, and those remain the same throughout the entirety of the Challenge of Elders. Now, for the Prison of Elders, you have 5 rounds, and for the Challenge of Elders, you have 3. In the Challenge of Elders, all 3 rounds are boss rounds, and you have to kill enemies a certain way for extra points. Every type of kill grants points, but depending on what modifier it is, this week is precision kill bonus. You will want to get a bunch of precision kills because those will give you more points than anything else. Now, in the Challenge of Elders, you need to be quick. You need to be quick about killing ads and killing the boss because you are timed. It doesn't show you the time limit, but if you take too long, Varix will start decreasing your score because he's impatient. I'm going to hop into, let's see, let's see here. Cult of the Worm. Actually, Skolas has all 3 critical objectives, so I'm going to show those, and then I will do the Challenge of Elders.
Prison of Elders welcomes you. Impress your warden, yes?
Round 1. Bone walkers of the hive await. Kill them, dead guardian.
More enemies have been unleashed. Be ready. More enemies on the way. Victory, well earned. Go back to airlock, yes. More enemies, Guardian. Destroy mines or die. Your choice. Cabal advancing on your position. Dismantle mines, yes, or die. Success, Guardian.
Bound war. Fallen of the Wolf Banner march to war. They
enemies have been unleashed. Important target, Guardian. Kill or be killed. Success, Guardian. Success.
Alright, so now that I've demonstrated the prison of elders and the critical objectives you can do, we are going to do the challenge of elders. This week's modifiers are airborne, players deal more damage while in the air; berserk, minions of the darkness won't flinch even after massive damage; and precision kill bonus. Precision kills are worth more points. Alright, now we are in the Challenge of Elders.
Psylocke, the Defiled, thirsts for your light.
And unlike the Prison of Elders, the bosses in the Challenge of Elders actually have mechanics to them. And since the modifier is precision kill bonus, I couldn't show it, but I already showed it, so it doesn't matter. Since it's precision kill bonus, we get extra points for precision kills, and I think I forgot to switch to self-res. Boom. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're in the hallway, port you back out. And then the door around is complete. Alright, now that we've killed all the ads, we are now going to DPS the boss. You do not want to kill the boss as quickly as possible, because you really need to get as many points as possible. He's glitching out. And actually this because because his ability, this guy's ability, is to create a slightly bigger fire puddle than normal knights. And I know he's bigger, but those fire puddles are still bigger relative to his size than a normal fire puddle is relative to a normal knight. So yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of lazy. They should have made something else, but whatever. Oh, you see that? Varix got impatient. He's decreasing my score. Now, he doesn't take off a lot of points at first, but every time he goes impatient, he will take off more points than he did the last time. And dead.
They are dead. You are not.
Oh, would you look at that? Sterling treasure. These were like you got to do certain weekly activities such as the Prison of Elders or the weekly heroic strike or the heroic strike playlists, and you get certain treasures. I think right now from the heroic strike playlist you get treasure of, but for Prison of Elders you get sterling treasures, and they basically gave you my inventory's full. To the tower. Basically, sterling treasures, radiant treasures, and treasures of the ages. Those gave you similar stuff to bright engrams, but the items in Eververse, like, there were not as many things in Eververse as there are in Destiny 2. And it really just makes Destiny 2 suck a whole lot worse. Not to mention, they make all of the, like, they used to make all of the raid armors look the best in Destiny 1. Like, those were the best looking armor sets in the game. In Destiny 2, the best looking armor is all locked behind Eververse. The raid armor, I'm not really a big fan of the raid armor or the raid layer armor. Looks terrible. Boom. Desolate gloves. Meh. I forget if I already have those or not, but I can get them easily because there's this thing called the Silver Dust Store. Basically, Silver Dust is basically the same thing as Bright Dust, but you can get whatever you want without having to rely on RNG. Well, I mean, with Bright Dust, that's the same thing with Destiny 2. However, with Destiny 2, there's only a very few select items you can get per week that are available. If you want all the things in Destiny 2's Dawning, well, it's too late now, but if you wanted all of the things in Destiny 2's Dawning, you had to spend money. Like, that's just messed up. Bungie could have made actual quests and actual content to get all that awesome looking armor. I did get the chest piece, but that's because that was available in the Bright Dust store, and I had enough Bright Dust for only that, and that is pretty much the only item I care about besides the ship, which I don't think... Like, there were multiple ships that were in the Dawning, but the one that I really wanted, I don't think was available, like, for Bright Dust in any... was out, which is just really retarded. And yeah, I didn't spend a single cent on the Dawning. In fact, since Bungie kind of slapped us in the face with putting the Dawning behind a paywall, I returned the favor by spending money on platinum in Warframe. Haha, suck that, Bungie. I think that's about everything. Basically, the moral of the story is just don't, if you put things into a previous title, don't remove those features from the sequels. Like, there's no reason to actually remove them. Not only does Destiny 2 not have much new stuff to offer, it's also a regression from Destiny 1. So, like, in my opinion, if the Red War, like, if Gaul attacking the tower, if that was just a Destiny 1 DLC, I think that would have been better than Destiny 2. That would have been better than making an actual sequel to the game, because the sequel, in my opinion, did way more harm than good. Like, if it was just a DLC, you would have still had primary, special, heavy, and there might even be a quest to reclaim your stuff in the destroyed tower, and maybe even fight a Cabal dude that had all your stuff in the tower. That could have been possible if they simply made Destiny 2 a Destiny 1 DLC. Just call it the Red War, or like Legion something. I don't know. But basically, moral of the story: if something exists in a previous title, don't take it out of the sequel. I am really disappointed about the state of Destiny 2, the state it was at release. I am going to play whatever the hell Expansion 2 is called. There's a leak that's called, where it's called Gods of Mars, but I don't know if that's true. But I am going to play that because I was foolish enough to pre-order not only Destiny 2, but the expansion pass as well. That is the last time I will ever pre-order anything again. Ever. I'm not even gonna pre-order Monster Hunter World. I think it's gonna be a really good game, but I'm gonna wait till it's out to buy it. And I encourage all of you watching this to do the same.